San Francisco, I was a little bit surprised. Maybe I shouldn't have been, but Raheem Mostert comes in and immediately after injury takes back the lead dog job and started the game, outsnapped Jerick McKinnon 31-16, outtouched Jerick McKinnon 14-3. I mean, they got absolutely trucked, which I guess isn't a great sign for Raheem Mostert, but they made it very clear, hey, Raheem Mostert is our number one back. Jerick McKinnon is our change of pace guy. What did you see out of that? And anything else with San Francisco?
No, it was a very promising game and return game for Raheem Mostert, who did have 120 total yards. And I mean, he's been really, really explosive. I mean, he's been a big play machine whenever on the field. He had another 37-yard run in this game. They're using him a lot more in the passing game this year than they did last season when, he had his 8-game run as the 49ers lead back and he had 13 targets in those 8 games or something like that. I think he's going to be good to go as an RB2 every week with RB1 upside.
The quarterback situation is a mess right now in San Francisco. Jimmy Garoppolo gets benched. They bring in C.J. Beathard, which I was surprised they didn't go back to Nick Mullins a little bit, but Kyle Shanahan prefers C.J. Beathard. C.J. Beathard wasn't available for the last game due to injury when Nick Mullins got to start. So I'm curious your take on the quarterback situation. And also I wanted to note that Deebo Samuel did get back into a full snap kind of role, which is promising going forward if they can get that quarterback situation squared away. But yeah, I mean, not good for Jimmy Garoppolo right now.
No, and I mean, Kyle Shanahan explained it as, they were trying to protect Jimmy Garoppolo from himself. He was really inaccurate in the first half, clearly hindered by that high ankle sprain. And I mean, just missing 2 weeks with a high ankle sprain, that's never enough. I mean, usually players miss 4 to 6 weeks with a high ankle sprain. So, I mean, clearly he just came back too soon. And now they play on Monday night. He's got the extra day, but I don't know. I don't know what they probably don't even know what they're going to do at quarterback yet at this point in the week.
Chicago Bears. Without Tariq Cohen, we knew David Montgomery's role was going to expand. David Montgomery, 2.2 targets per game last year. In 2 games since the Tariq Cohen injury, 7.0 targets per game for David Montgomery, operating as a bell count. Now he gets a very, very good matchup coming up, as you mentioned, against Carolina. What do you think about David Montgomery and anything else going on with the Bears?
Yeah, David Montgomery, over 80% of the snaps in each of the last 2 weeks since the Tariq Cohen ACL tear. Allen Robinson remains matchup proof, 90+ yards in each of Nick Foles' 3 appearances so far. Not a whole lot else going on in this offense. I think Jimmy Graham remains week to week just a touchdown or bust guy. He did get into the box this past week, but only 3 catches for 33. Darnell Mooney remains the clear number 2 ahead of Anthony Miller. I think that we're going to see Darnell Mooney pop up for a couple of big games in the second half. He's really fast, and he's playing a lot of snaps. And Nick Foles, when he has his good games, when he has his spikes, he gets the ball downfield. And Darnell Mooney, he missed Darnell Mooney on a potential big splash play last Thursday night against the Bucs. But when he does have those good games and he's on, and we've seen those games from him before, I think that Darnell Mooney matches up with Nick Foles' skill set.
Arizona. Chase Edmonds is making a move. I mean, Chase Edmonds is played 45% of the snaps, and you have been talking about since preseason that, hey, listen, we need Chase Edmonds on our team because he has a chance to have the pass catching role, which it seems like he does now, and siphon off a decent amount of rushing work, which is maybe still possible, and just flat out outplay Kenyon Drake to the point where he becomes the starter. So certainly arrow looking up on Chase Edmonds right now. Also, I was happy to see Kyler Murray, instead of the horizontal raid, get it vertically to DeAndre Hopkins twice. I mean, DeAndre Hopkins made 2 ridiculous catches up the left sideline to kind of get there against the Jets and end up with a big game. What did you see out of Arizona against those Jets?
Yeah, and Christian Kirk also came on a little bit. Not a big fantasy game, but 5 for 78. We'll definitely take that. It looks like he's healthy. He's got 55+ yards and/or touchdown in 3 straight games now. And they'll be playing Dallas on Monday night. So Christian Kirk, all of a sudden, is, I think, wide receiver 3 viable in season-long leagues. Will certainly probably be a popular play on the on Showdown on Monday night. with the Cardinals' limitations in the passing game so far, and I mean, they just had their best passing game of the season, albeit against the Jets. But Kyler Murray, season high in yards per pass attempt. You mentioned the two big plays downfield to DeAndre Hopkins, Christian Kirk coming along, but Chase Edmonds can add something to their passing game as well. And he's now got 5 catches in consecutive games. I think at this point, there's really not a whole lot of reason maybe for them to involve Kenyon Drake in the passing game more when Chase Edmonds is just doing it better. I think that Chase Edmonds is now like a flex play in season-long leagues and with a chance to make an even committee, if not overtake Kenyon Drake outright as the season progresses.
The Eagles. I got to ask about Travis Fulgham because Travis Fulgham is the talk of Philadelphia right now. They think that they have the new number 1 wide receiver. Tell the people a little bit about Travis Fulgham, what you think about him going forward. We don't know the status of Deshaun Jackson, of Alshon Jeffrey for week 6 yet.
Yeah, drafted, I believe, in the 6th round last year by the Lions. Played in 3 games, had 3 targets as a rookie. The Lions cut him. And now opportunity, has abounded for him due to a bunch of injuries at the receiver position in Philadelphia. I mean, I think they got to keep playing him. He leads the NFL in yards per route run, one of the most predictive stats that Pro Football Focus puts out. I mean, I think they got to keep playing him because I think he's earned it. And so that could become a concern eventually for whenever Deshaun Jackson comes back, Jalen Reagor is going to play. But I think they have to keep playing him because he's earned it.
Yeah. Speaking of earning it or not earning it, I mean, Zach Ertz wants a new contract. And Zach Ertz, I mean, with no Goddard, no Reagor, no Deshaun Jackson, no Alshon Jeffrey, Zach Ertz can't do anything. Last 2 games, 5 catches, 15 yards. I mean, it's like pathetic for Zach Ertz right now. I think that it's 10 time. I think we can safely say it's 10 time. I thought maybe he could overcome it with volume, but he can't even get volume at this point. Can anybody even start Zach Ertz anymore? I mean, because he's going to project well from a projection basis because you have to give somebody targets, and Zach Ertz historically gets so many of them. But man, I don't know what's going on.
It's bad. I mean, it's to a point where I think you have to just put him on your bench and, wait until he shows some signs of life because he looks awful. I mean, we've talked about it now for multiple weeks and, he's not making any plays. It looks like he has no playmaking ability left.
Rams. They came out after the game and said they want to get Cam Akers involved more. I thought Cam Akers' return was good. He used him at the end of the game. But still, I mean, McVay is going to keep using this. He said he is. He's going to keep using this week to week based on scheme, based on how the game is going, based on what the matchup is, how he's going to play it between Akers, D. Hendo, and Malcolm Brown. And I believe him. I believe that he goes into a game and is like, I don't actually know who I'm going to use the most in this game. So for us, it's really hard to know as well. Other thing I noticed, people are kind of excited about Gerald Everett, 4 catches for 90 yards. He ran 8 routes. I mean, imagine running 8 routes and going 4.90. It's almost impossible. So what do you see out of the Rams backfield with Cam Akers' return and anything else going on with the Rams?
I mean, optimally, I think it should be clear that it should be a Darrell Henderson, Cam Akers backfield, but even Malcolm Brown still had 9 touches last week, went nowhere. So that's the frustrating part right now, I think, of the backfield. I think that this offense is good enough that if we could just pull out Malcolm Brown and it would be a Darrell Henderson, Cam Akers backfield, then we could feel a lot better about using those guys or, looking at them week to week. But with the 3-headed monster, it's going to be really, really tough. Sure. Tyler Higby is like, I was talking to Daigle of Roto World, and he's got him on his cuts list this week. Daigle does the waiver wire for Roto World. And he's like, it's time to cut bait on Tyler Higby. And I couldn't disagree with him. I mean, this has gone back to being a 3-receiver offense and where, Tyler Higby and Gerald Everett are essentially sharing time as the one tight end. And that's not going to lead to a lot of reliability for them.
For sure. Yeah, I would probably hang on to Tyler Higby just because of the state of the position. And if something happened to Gerald Everett, you'd have something maybe, but yeah. hard to disagree right now if you have another option on waivers at tight end.